These are the moments when your blood boiling, heart racing, and every fiber screaming for release. So you punch a pillow, scream into the void, or pay £30 to smash plates in a trendy rage room. It feels incredible, like you finally let off steam. But here's the shocking truth that decades of research have proven. Venting your anger doesn't make you calmer, it makes you angrier. Over 150 studies involving more than 10,000 participants point to the same uncomfortable conclusion. The thing we've been told to do our entire lives is actually making our anger worse. As Brad Bushman, professor at Ohio State University, puts it, venting to reduce anger is like using gasoline to put out a fire. To understand how we got this wrong, we need to travel back over 2,000 years. The word catharsis comes from Greek katharsis, meaning a cleansing or purging. Aristotle first described this in his Poetics, suggesting that watching tragic plays gave audience emotional release. But Aristotle was talking about watching drama, not creating it in our own lives. The transformation came from Sigmund Freud. In the late 1800s and the early 1900s, he revived catharsis and gave it a modern twist. He believed repressed emotions could build up like a pressure in a steam engine, eventually causing psychological symptoms if not released. This became the hydraulic model of anger. Frustration creates anger. Anger builds like a hydraulic pressure, and if you don't vent it, you'll explode. The metaphor was seductive. We know what it feels like when anger builds inside of us. The hydraulic model suggests a simple solution. Punch a pillow, scream in your car, hit a punching bag. In general, just let off steam before the boiler bursts. This idea shaped anger management for over a century. Self-help books promote healthy outlets for rage. Therapists encourage clients to express anger physically. However, science began humbling our intuitions. In 1959, researcher Hornberger found that participants who pounded nails after being insulted were more aggressive afterwards, not less. The most decisive study came from Brad Bushman in 2002. He had participants insulted to make them angry, then divided them into 3 separate groups. One hit a punching bag while thinking about their tormentor, another hit the bag while thinking about fitness, and the third did nothing. The results were crystal clear. The group that hit the punching bag while thinking about their tormentor became more aggressive, not less. They blasted opponents with loud noise in subsequent tasks and filled with word puzzles with violent words. One participant punched a hole in the laboratory wall. But here's the disturbing part. The participants who vented felt better afterwards. This created what Bushman calls an emotional hamster wheel, where venting makes you feel good, while it's just actually increasing aggression. Because it feels good, you do it again, reinforcing the very behavior you're trying to eliminate. Your brain associates aggressive behavior with feeling better, creating neural pathways that makes you more aggressive in the future. Despite decades of research, the myth persists. Rage rooms have exploded in popularity, charging £20 to £15 to destroy objects with baseball bats. The marketing promises release your stress, blow off steam. But according to science, you're paying to make your anger worse. Sophie Shavrick at Virginia Commonwealth University investigated this very phenomenon. Working with Bushman, she conducted the most comprehensive analysis of anger reduction techniques ever attempted. Published in March 2024, their meta-analysis examined 154 studies involving 10,189 participants from diverse backgrounds. Activities that increased physiological arousal either had no effect or made anger worse. Jogging was particularly problematic. But the clear winners were activities that decreased arousal: deep breathing, mindfulness, meditation, progressive muscle relaxation, or even just taking a time out. When you're angry, your amygdala triggers a fight or flight response. This will lead to the following: flooding your system with stress hormones, your heart rate increases, your blood pressure rises, and your body prepares for battle. Venting doesn't reduce this arousal, it increases it. When you punch a pillow or scream, you're not releasing anger, you're just rehearsing it. You are teaching your brain that the appropriate response to anger is more aggression. There's another mechanism at work: rumination. This is obsessively replaying anger-inducing events, focused on perceived injustice and fantasizing about revenge. Come on, tell me you have never done that. Venting almost always involves rumination, keeping the upsetting event active in your working memory and preventing natural cooldown, which is very important. People who ruminate experience higher depression, anxiety, and overall distress. The stress response stays active, keeping cortisol and blood pressure elevated, affecting sleep, immune function, and cardiovascular health. The very thing we do to feel better keeps us trapped in anger. But here's the hopeful turn. The research reveals what actually works. Deep breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest response. Progressive muscle relaxation helps you release physical tension. Mindfulness teaches you to observe thoughts and emotions without reacting. Even by just counting to 10 works, by creating a pause between stimulus and response. This will be giving your prefrontal cortex time to modulate your amygdala's alarm response. These techniques work across demographics in all settings, and their effects persist over time. A person with criminal history benefits just as much as a college student. As Shervik notes, you don't need to book an appointment with a cognitive behavioral therapist. You can just download an app for free, or find a YouTube video if you need guidance. This accessibility is crucial because anger problems are widespread. People with poor anger management face relationship problems, workplace conflicts, legal troubles, and higher risk for cardiovascular disease, depression, and anxiety. That is a lot. This research reframes our relationship with anger itself. Anger is information. It tells us something we value has been threatened. The emotion isn't the problem, it's what we do with it. When you feel anger rising, you have a choice. You can vent, which leads more to anger and aggression, or you can choose the counterintuitive path. Turn down the heat, take deep breaths, step away, practice relaxation or meditation, or even just going for a gentle walk. This isn't about suppressing anger. It's about creating space between the feeling and your response. The urge to vent is not an accurate guide to what will actually help you. The rage room industry will continue because the myth of catharsis feels true even when it isn't. But you know better. The hydraulic model is not just wrong, it's actively harmful. The next time you feel the surge of anger, remember what research tells us. Venting is like using gasoline to put out a fire. Instead of feeding the flames, turn down the heat. Trust me, your future self, calmer and genuinely happier, will thank you. After decades of research, the answer is simple. It doesn't require expensive therapy or exotic techniques. Instead of turning up the heat, we turn it down. Instead of adding fuel, we let the fire burn out. Instead of venting our anger, we breathe through it. This is the paradox science has revealed. The path to freedom from anger doesn't go through anger, it goes around it.